To curb insecurity in Nigeria, from my own opinion, there's a lot to be done by both the government and us as citizens of Nigeria. First of all, we need to reorientate ourselves. This issue that people want to get rich quick is a menace that has taken over the society. When we were growing up, we were led to believe in hard work. You have to be determined in life, put in a lot of hard work for you to succeed. But in the Nigerian society that we have today, those that have embarked on that route are no longer succeeding. So the people that are succeeding at the moment are the people that have gone through the shortcut. And the people that are growing up, the youth particularly, have seen this. So because there is a kind of disincentive to hard work and honesty, they tend to shy away from it and embark on the roads that are not genuine. Take, for example, politics in Nigeria.
Yes, without crime in Edo state or Edo environment, it will have been a more success to our economy and to our people, to our children. And being Benin or Edo, let me choose Benin as the center of attraction because of our tradition and our crafts, our arts and all that. It will definitely embrace a lot of financial income to our people and also to those who have businesses around. It would have been a success if there's less crime in the environment.
When you're abroad, you hear things. The thing with being abroad is people go home every day. You must, at least every week, you find someone who's gone home, who's coming back and all that. So they bring back stories,
Why do people go into politics in Nigeria today? Is it because they want to better the life of its citizens? No. They go into politics to fight for their pockets. And because of that, youths coming up want to go into politics for the wrong reasons. Because they believe being a politician today, they can become rich overnight. But that is the plain truth. So we are talking about criminals in the very low cadre. But we have the big criminals in government sitting in powers. Buhari promised to fight corruption in Nigeria. Is the 5th year is in power today. Has anybody been brought to book? Has anybody been put to jail for corruption, for indictment, even in clear cases where it has been reported that people were caught collecting bribes? Nothing has been done.
Nightlife in Benin was fun. We used to go, if you're the type that go to club, we used to go clubbing, we go out, even at night, we go to joints like a Yarrow to eat and all that. We do loads of stuff. But now, nightlife, like 2015 when I went, I want to go out, people tell you, where are you going? Are you not scared of this and that? So man, it's just terrible.
In terms of kidnapping, I don't agree particularly that it is being perpetrated by Edo youths. Some of them might be involved, but I don't think majority of the kidnapping taking place in the state are perpetrated by the Edo youths. I believe there are invaders from elsewhere, maybe from other states, the issue of this herdsman who has infiltrated into the state that are perpetrating the kidnapping. Solely, I don't believe that the Edo youths are responsible for the kidnappings that are taking place in the state.
The impact of this various crime we do here or that happens around Edo, let me say Edo region now, is the impact is really great in a sense that yes, when you report your car is missing or one thing or the other happens, you to get a security telephone is difficult to get to. If you after getting to the security, the investigation is not a starter. There's no assistance from your relations. There's no assistance from the government. There's no assistance from the forces that's supposed to handle crime issues. So it's like No one cares about that. They just feel like it's just you, you're unfortunate, so you have to just live with that for life. You know, that's something that deprived a lot of us coming back again. Really, some people have decided after such crime, they no longer want to come back home.
Who would want to go invest in such societies where, you know, the crime rate is prevalent, is very high? Yeah, nobody wants to do that. You know, before you even mention, let's talk about Nigeria now. Before you even mention Nigeria to people abroad, people that have never been there, they're telling you one thing or the other about your country. You try to convince them. They're opening pages they're going to the internet and telling you one thing, and they're showing you different things and all that. It's wrong. And I think our government needs to do something about this.
Stories of kidnapping, robbery is not really a good story to hear. And when we or the people who live outside Benin, especially abroad, it discourages our investment there. It discourages our visit to our people. It discourages a lot of people going home with their children, which will not be a part of income to Edo or Benin. So it's quite unfortunate, excepting the government and the people really have to come together to improve these security issues.
That the Edo youth should come up and speak in one voice and say the crime that is being perpetrated in the state, especially when it comes to kidnapping, is not done by us. And there should be a form of organization. They should come together in one voice, in one unity to echo this, so that people will know that they are not the people responsible for that. Because the reason why I said this is that the cleric friend of mine, I said previously, he escaped an attack at the Benin bypass between Lagos Road and Saple Road. He clearly stated that the people who attacked me were herdsmen. He was lucky to have come back alive. Those were not Edo youths. But the fact that it's happening in Edo State doesn't mean that it is the youth that is responsible for it. You know,
it's not about fast money these days. People just want to get rich by whatever means. If it means you kidnapping somebody and making a fortune. I heard they ask for millions of naira for ransom. So who cares? If you kidnap somebody and put the person in the house for 5 days or 1 week or whatever, you make 5 million. You want to do it again and again. So that's what I think. And they don't care really.
There is hard-working role models in Nigeria, but the reward is very little. So those that are not hardworking, that have embarked on corruption and fraud, are getting much benefit. And those are the people the youths are looking up to. If you want to actually make the society work, example must be made of those in high places. I was listening to an interview by a Singaporean. He said in 1948, Singapore was as poor as Nigeria. Don't forget, they are also a British colony, because there is this issue of Britain introduced corruption into Nigeria and all those stuff. They are the ones that are responsible why the country is not working. I don't believe and I don't share that view, because Singapore is a very clear example. I've been to Singapore. I know how Singapore is. So as I was saying, this guy that was being interviewed, he said in 1948, Singapore was a third world country with no good roads, no electricity, no drainage and stuff like that. But it took one man to stand up and cause the change. What did he do? The then Deputy Prime Minister in Singapore went on an holiday that was paid by a businessman. He came, what did he do? He was put to prison because he felt that was corruption. Because he believed that if a businessman pays for your trip or expense paid to have an holiday abroad, then the same businessman will want to get incentive from you because you are the Deputy Prime Minister. That singular act transformed Singapore. Everybody now know that if you do what is wrong, you will face the consequences. But that is not the case in Nigeria today.
Usually, crime can really start from home as well. It can be your relations who initiate crime against families, and sometimes it's not relations, or it's not the youth around you. It's not your niece or brothers or whatever. These crimes when a system is really, when the system is broken down completely, employment, a lot of things for the youths, and even not only the youth, for even the people graduated, no work, nothing doing. The effect is crime that comes in. They get involved with drugs, they get involved with scams, and they get involved with cultism. All those things increases all those lot of things that destabilize the society, and that is the word crime.
I don't think we're going anywhere. This is why the government needs to address this situation, because if this situation continues, Edo State, sorry to say, might be a no-go area. Nobody wants to visit that country, that state anymore, or Nigeria as a whole. Because when you want to travel back home, you know, you just imagine you've worked hard. Most people travel, you know, during the Utah season, you know, you worked hard from January to December. You plan your, you know, with your kids, you plan your holiday. You could as well go to Europe, but you just want to go home to see people back home so that you could relax and eat, you know, the food that you're used to eating, the proper Edo food, Benin food. You understand? But when you start thinking of what is going to happen to you, God forbid, kidnapping or assassination, robbery, even if robbery, they could come in and steal whatever, but kidnapping and killing and whatever, you're scared. You don't want to go. Nobody wants to go back home to die. Nobody wants to go back home to... It's just crazy.
Like I said before, Edo youths are very good youths, to be honest. I know some of them, we have the bad ones among them that are not ready to work or ready to engage in anything meaningful, but I don't think they are in the majority. In order to attract investors to the States, especially those in diaspora, to come and invest in the state, the government has to work with security agents in Nigeria and provide that enabling environment. Give us the assurance that when you come, nothing will happen to you. But that is not the case, I will speak. But I think that is even also beyond the power of the youth to do alone, to provide the enabling security. Like I said, there are many infiltrants coming into the states to come and perpetrate crime. The Edo youth doesn't have the power to fight the crime. It is the security agencies that have the power to fight the crime. Yes, vigilante groups can be formed among locals to be on the watch out, like neighborhood watching and stuff like that, to report cases of suspected individuals to the security agents. But then the security agents also themselves has to have the wherewith to be able to deal with this.
First of all, assure me and every other person from the diaspora that there's adequate security. We need to see changes. We need to, you know, crime rates need to reduce. We need to see that the government is providing for security. You know, the government we have nowadays is just the government of enriching. People just want to enrich themselves. They come into, you know, you're voted into office, and all you want to do is to enrich yourself and your family. They don't care about the populace. They don't care about people that bring them in, you know. But when I, for example, if I'm assured that coming into the country, I'm safe right from the airport, I'm safe, you know, because you're looking behind you. We're even told when you go back home, don't dress fancy. Don't dress fanciful. Don't be fanciful. Don't wear nice clothes. How can I not wear my regular clothes? It's funny. So when you are assured of your security, and you know basic things are put in place. You know, we live in London. We see the way there's crime rates in London, but I could go about London 2-3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm not scared. But if in Nigeria those things are put in place, security, police are well equipped, even the policemen, I don't know what to say about them anyway. they're well equipped, you know, to protect the citizens, which is their duties anyway. You know, just give us the assurances that we are safe. That's what we need, just needs, that we are safe to come in.
Yeah, in recent times, if I'm going home, I don't tell my relations because they are not always happy with coming home because of the insecurity. So in all, I do come, I just go home unexpectedly. They just see me face to face, and so that because they are not they don't guarantee your security when you are back home, because they tell us what is going on and the issues that is around kidnapping, robbery, and all that for Fulani, Hemsene, and all that. That's what happens.
I think the present-day Nigerian government has failed in terms of providing, securing life and properties of the Nigerian citizens. That is a very big issue. The security agents are supposed to provide security for its citizens, but that is not the case, we know. The government needs to do more. The government needs to step up and live up to their expectations, what the citizens expect from them. They need to be able to deploy securities to these various places where kidnappers is rampant and to curb the menace to the public. But as we stand, the APC-led government is not doing that.
Yeah, the morality standard depends on individual families, but when there's poverty in a system, these are poverty that contribute to all these moral standards. When there's poverty, when poverty is below the expected level in an environment, there's bound to be prostitution, there's bound to be scams, there's bound to be robbery. All these things are part of, because there's no employment for the youth, there's no future for them, there's no institution. The institutions, they are not standardized to take care of these issues. Even though if you're a good parents, you care for your kids, they are going out there to mix up with those who are not privileged. It's just a few that are privileged in our society. So the gap is too great, and those who are even top there, say they are above average, they don't contribute or even assist even a neighbor. You know, so the society gets a bit wide with, so that's why the crime will definitely increase because of the poverty.
Let's not deceive ourselves. Nigeria, as we stand, is a failed economy. It's a failed state completely. We know that Nigeria has ranked among the highest among where poverty rate is very high, is the highest in the world. We know that the Nigerian citizens are living below $1 a day, you know, which means clearly there is hunger and poverty in the land. When you're talking about there is work available and the youth don't want to do it, let's take work at the federal government level, for example. What is the current minimum wage in Nigeria? We've been agitating that they should increase the minimum wage, and reluctantly they've agreed to raise it to 30,000 naira. The federal government and state government and say they cannot pay that 30,000 naira minimum wage. Now, the private sector, if the federal government cannot pay that amount, how much do you think the private sector can pay? So when you go to work, there is a work you are asked to do for 20,000 naira or more. In it, you're going to embark on transport to and fro from work. You're going to eat lunch. So at the end of the day, how much is left with you? So clearly, people put these things into consideration. Is it just by going to work? The work that cannot move you up? A work that cannot move you forward? So clearly, there is no meaningful employment in Nigeria that will engage the youth. And that is why they are looking the other way. I
would sit any Edo youth down and tell him, look him clear in the eye and tell him, listen, you need to change your ways, because what you're doing back home is affecting people abroad. the actions you take here, you think you just do these things and you make fast money and you just get away with it and all that. Whatever you do right now is affecting the people abroad. And again, think about your future. Crime, it doesn't pay. You just make fast money and by the time you know it, what's going to happen? What sort of future are you creating for yourself?
Edu youth are not really saying they wouldn't work, but not the kind of job that matters. We are talking of what the job itself are not really a job that are meant, maybe because they are not really trained to those areas of manual jobs, and basically they wouldn't get involved in jobs that maybe they didn't know about. When you say manual, like we don't have technological. If you want to dig a moat back here now, we have technology to really assist those who want to do the job, not just too manual. There will be some manual involved, controlling the machines or whatever, but those things are not there. They are not provided, so it discourages, and there's no basic training in technical, in scientific or whatever. I would tell it technical.
Attracting people to visit Edo State or to do business in Edo State is almost impossible, because, like I said previously, the crime rate is everyone wants to make money out of you. Everyone wants to pinch something out of you. Everyone wants to obtain you, so to say. That's the word. Yeah. Back in the days, obtaining was, with consent. At least they take something from you. That's obtaining. Mm-hmm. Now they are threatening you with knives and guns and everything. They even take you out of your own will, kidnap you. And so how do you instill trust in people that you would safeguard them to come to Edo State now? It's almost impossible.
To be quite frank, when I left Nigeria a long time ago, and I visited Nigeria for the first time in 2016, to be quite honest, the Nigeria I left many years ago, I appreciated it more than the Nigeria I visited in 2016 and 2017. Particularly in Benin City, though the city has expanded from the way I left it behind, but in terms of infrastructure development, much has not really changed. The roads were just awful, and it gave me grave concerns as well. And talking about security-wise, the Benin City I left a long time ago was very much more secured compared to the Benin City I visited in 2016 and 2017. And I know you cannot take Edo State out of isolation. I think the security problem is a nationwide issue.
Yeah, my greater concern in Edo State is that if we should have light, that will help security. And with that, I feel when there's less crime, then there will be other opportunities, like water people will be free to move around at time to time.
It is a necessity, because I know a lot of people who are not willing to go back home just because of that particular issue of security. They are scared that if they come home, something bad might happen to them, or the people they come with, their family members. And I think I don't blame them, because I share a part of that view as well. You come back to a place you call home, and then you're looking over your shoulders, left, right, and center. You don't know what's going to happen next. It is a grave cause for concern to people that live in diaspora.
I want to appeal to, first of all, Edo State government, and secondly, to the indigenes. Whatever happens in Edo State affects the people abroad. It's like, it's a cycle. You think it's happening there, people abroad, they don't, if we want to come home every Christmas, we want to come home Easter, we want to come home anniversaries for, God forbid, funerals, we want to come home for birthdays, and we want to come in peace. We want to come to an environment where we feel loved, where we feel happy. It's not just where people back home are always expecting you to bring something to them, or people back home, they just want to collect everything they can collect from you, and at the end of the day, they're planning some sort of evil against you. Because they feel when you live abroad, you have so much money. No, we abroad, diaspora, we work hard to make money, just like you guys over there. And if your intention is to plan evil against the people abroad, then you're getting it wrong. So I'm appealing to the government, in order to attract, to make our lives better, us that live abroad, the crime rate in those states should be reduced. Because right now, we don't even know who to trust.
Personally, I have not experienced anything like that. Like I said, I've not been frequent in Nigeria for quite some time. But sometime last month, I was discussing with a cleric friend of mine, and we were talking about coming to Edo State to make an investment. Generally, he was encouraging me and pointing out areas that one could invest in. I was quite impressed by what he said, but the thing that came to my mind was this issue of security. And I said, hey, look, Pastor, I quite appreciate everything that you have said, but based on what I've heard in the past, how will security play into this? Will we not be kidnapped or something like that? And they said, no, we'll be all right and stuff like that. And I remember a particular incident of the Nigerian guy, a boy in particular, who came from the States to invest in farming in Benin. We all saw it on the social media, how his farm had been destroyed and he lost a quite huge of investment. I brought that particular topic, and he assured me that I'm sure that nothing like that is going to happen. I said, okay, well, we'll think about it. Then, in about 3 weeks later, we brought out the same discussion, and guess what he told me? We're discussing, and he said a very close friend of his is into farming in those states. He tried to mechanize the farm to be able to increase his output, production output. But guess what? He was just kidnapped, and they had to pay him with a sum of 10 million naira. I said, that's huge. And I reminded him the discussion we had previously. I said, this is exactly what I'm saying. Because the guy went into farming in the kind of mechanized form, they think he's got money. They don't know where he got the investments from.
I would say in conclusion of this topic of about crime in the Edo area or in Nigeria generally, Edo area is not really the worst if we compare them with other states. But we know there's crime. So what I would say is for the youth, the contribution is that the youth has less because the youth can be controlled. If the government and the people, if we are disciplined in getting to them to sit in line with their education, and they have things doing, I believe the youth they will comply to behave in good form, and that will put them straight, because they will know that crime will not pay, because the severity of crime is high. Yes, members of Diaspora that have experienced crime, it's a sad experience. But when they continue to hear the good improvement coming up, I think they will revisit their mind to come back home.
Well, that's the end of this season of Crime Bites, creating awareness of the impact of crime at home on members of the Edo diaspora. We do hope our youths have learned a thing or two about this edition. Till next time, my name is Osuri Yamu, and thank you for watching.